brought the wrong Kierkegaard book today. But I figure any Kierkegaard book, you know, you're better off than having no Kierkegaard book at all. Has anybody read any Kierkegaard? What a bunch of liars. You've all read Kierkegaard, you're just ashamed to admit it. He was half a whack job. He lived a couple of hundred years ago. But and so The Sickness Unto Death is the name of this book. The book I wanted to bring, but I gave it away on my way to the car because I saw somebody who I wanted to read it, so I gave it to him. What it was entitled, it was a Purity of Heart is to will a single idea. To see that now this has a catchy little title, The Sickness Unto Death, a Christian psychological exposition for upbuilding and awakening is the name of this one. This is going to be on VH1 on Thursday nights. Really, it's the same title. We want this open, huh?
You can close it now.
Shut up. Because they're two sides of the same coin. Kierkegaard would argue that despair is the inability to will one single idea as an organizing principle for our conduct. To see that there is really, now Christians, for example, might say, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, is a single idea which could govern all behavior. And hello. How you? No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Where the hell were you? Sit here. No, I'm what Kierkegaard winds up saying is that that there are hundreds of forms of despair. Let me just read a little bit of this to you in case you think you're miserable in this course. Think of how miserable you would be in a course about Kierkegaard. Here is he presents first, and this is the idea about how ideas are brought to life in the consciousness of the listener, and this is how they are not brought to life. This is a purely dialectical presentation, pure logic. A human being is spirit. But what is spirit? Spirit is the self. But what is the self? The self is a relation that relates itself to itself, or is the relation relating itself to itself in the relation. The self is not the relation, but is the relations relating itself to itself. A human being is a synthesis of the infinite and the finite, of the temporal and the eternal, of freedom and necessity. In short, a synthesis. A synthesis is a relation between two. Considered in this way, a human being is still not a self. Right? This is to be filed under the category, give me a break. And I want you to know that this is a soul capable of the most beautiful writing probably you'll ever read. But in his effort to have a purity of being, which is to will one idea, he was trying to abstract comprehensively before he began to provide details. And ultimately, what he winds up saying in trying to find the single idea is that the absence of despair, which is the transcendent state of being. In that state, the self rests transparently in the spirit which gave it rise. So the self, let's say that's you, that's you, that's you, that's you, that's each of you. And you rest, each of you, transparently in the ground of being which created you. By which one means that despite your seeming separateness, each from the other, there radiates with a perfect clarity the soul of the universe which created you. So that, and this doubleness, this paradoxical doubleness of seeming to be both separate from each other and yet to be able to experience radiating through each other with no distortion, the universal spirit is the state of grace. And I would also submit that it is the state of art. That the telling of a story is nothing more or less than the process of the viewer coming to experience what has seemed to be separate entities as informed by a single unity. And in that context, all of the sort of abstract categories of plot, character, are subsumed into really what is a religious construct, which is, it's on all your currency. Your students, you're probably broke, but there's, you know, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. Now, as a writer, in a mass medium, I am asked to presuppose certain othernesses which contradict that fundamental aspiration. In the guise of saying we want to appeal to as many people as possible, in fact, my employers are saying, okay, but you can't appeal to everybody. Here's who you don't want to appeal to. Old people. First of all, there aren't as many of them as there are young people. Secondly, a lot of them have diseases. They can't get out of doors. Third, they spend a lot of money on medicine, less money, less disposable income, right? Plus, as they get older, they get a little crotchety, the work starts to shrink. They don't care. They don't care. What do they want to buy? They want to buy unguents for their rashes. Well, you can't tell a story that's just about unguents. That ain't going to work. So, there goes the old people. Don't direct your story to old people. Essentially, I will compress this to say that ultimately what this is, write to the young who have the most disposable income and have the most free-floating yearning, desire to attach to one thing or another, which can, through certain stimuli, be rewarded in a mass entertainment. That's what they're asking you to do. And in our day, further, place products within the story in an attractive enough context, which is, however, subliminal, to specifically make the audience want certain things. James Bond and Aston Martin. Like that.